To pray, there's no angels where I go. Only pieces that are broken, scattered dreams across the floor. I'm home.
Now tell me, what is 592 minus 1,000? I don't know. I can't think. Now, with that being said, hello everybody. This is Kira's show here, and whenever we last left off, Midoriya, he's been going through things. Many different forms of entertainment for a psychopath. The ghoul that is torturing Midoriya is Jason's father. Midoriya killed this man's son, and this man is taking it a bit personally. However, he has been very curious as to how far he can push this boy. See exactly where he can break, trying to bend him as much as possible. Occasionally there are cracks, and he can tell that the boy's been wearing down, as it has been about a month since we have seen Midoriya. Midoriya is still strapped to that table. In this time, this man has done many things. Dissect, torture, and straight up abuse Midoriya. Seeing how far he can go. Last week, he decided to give Midoriya a bit of a choice. Either play along with his little game this time, or he will not feed Midoriya. Midoriya wasn't too sure what to do. He was already very weak, and the fact that they barely gave him food anyway left him hungry. He was feeling the pain. The pain of what it's like whenever you have not eaten. It is the worst pain imaginable. You can dig out his eyes again, cut off his eyelids, or rip apart his arms. Or you can try harvesting a lung. The feeling of not being able to breathe is better than this. It's a lot better than this. Midoriya strapped to the table, seemingly going feral, as the man just watches Midoriya struggle against his restraints. And he decides to do something else today. Instead of just having the butcher usually cut off Midoriya's hands, he leaves them on. And he lets Midoriya go. Midoriya falling off of the table, and hitting the cold ground. Unable to recognize it, since it's just constantly covered in a layer of black and red, of dried blood. Midoriya's, he can smell it. At the same time, though, he's more or less hearing ringing in his ears. Not able to even think, let alone stay focused. As the man kicks him across the room, smashing into the wall and hitting the ground once more. Before at least pulling out a small case. Midoriya seeing what is inside. A piece of meat. Something that he can eat. He hasn't eaten in almost forever. It's agonizing what he's been feeling. Midoriya trying to summon his Kagune. The man then saying that if he does use it, then he will not get it. He will walk away and come back tomorrow. Now, this game will be easy. In fact, I want to see how far I can go. Tonight, I was able to pay off the guard, so you will be coming with me. The man sneaking Midoriya outside, and Midoriya just being docile and listening. Still trying to think about a way to escape. Thinking that if he's at least leaving the manor, then he can just get out, run away, try and find some place to hide or some place to stay safe. But he can hardly walk, so he'll just have to play along. The man taking Midoriya out to a forest and setting off his traps. The man lets Midoriya go, or at least that's what it seems. Midoriya taking off running until he eventually steps into a bear trap, and encountering more along the way. Before he encounters a pack of wolves, seemingly almost getting ripped apart. And the man begins his statements, asking the boy what 1,000 or 7 minus 1,000 is. Midoriya trying to respond, as he just stuffs a piece of meat in his mouth. Midoriya, at least having his hunger quenched, before he drags Midoriya back to the van and takes him back. That wasn't even the worst part. Whenever they did get back, the man strapped Midoriya to a chair and began to do odder things, odder forms of torture. Today he has a centipede. He has a couple, actually. And he wants to see what happens. This was one of his son's favorite forms of torture to people, especially ghouls, because whatever the centipede does in that noggin usually heals. So, as he does hold it up for Midoriya to see, Midoriya trying to fight against his restraints and trying to get away, as the man pulls Midoriya's head backwards against the chair and puts one into his ear. Midoriya hearing laughter, more and more and more, along with the sound of metal clanking back and forth. Midoriya just turning to look at the man. His face is solid, not showing anything. Midoriya realizing that he's not the one laughing. He is. In fact, he's so far gone that he can't even tell what's going on anymore. He used to see the world as black and white, but now it's just gray. In fact, he's having a thought cross his mind. This is actual hell. It can't be, because even hell would be better than this. He would rather go there. Then again, that's probably where he's going to end up. A normal person doesn't murder people like he does. They don't eat human flesh. He is a monster. An abomination among the monsters, actually. Possibly even the worst one. As tears begin to stream down his face, and the man puts another centipede in his head. Midoriya not even flinching anymore, as he just sits there in the chair, not fighting anymore, just looking down as he cries. Just thinking, Izuku! Now, that is whenever Midoriya snaps back to reality, his vision seemingly returning, except it has a distinct tint of red. As he looks up, seeing himself, confused as he just turns his head a little bit to the right. Through his tears he can see him, as he just walks forwards and bends down towards his knees, looking directly at him. Midoriya can tell that he's just squatting and staring at him, as the one standing, or at least squatting, begins to say that he's pathetic. What do you mean? Well, first off, you are a half-ghoul, a chimera, and you're being subjected to torture by such a weak man. It's simple. You're not strong enough. In fact, I know. I am you after all. So, let's make a bit of a deal. I know that you hold back. Subconsciously, you think that if you go all out against a person with a quirk, you can kill them. That's your human half talking, however. Anytime you fight against a ghoul, you fight a bit more seriously. That threat in your head is still trying to hold back, protect people, protect the ones around you. You're smart enough, you'll figure it out. Or do I need to take one of those things out of your head for you to finally understand me? And or are you just looking at this person? Before they go on saying that you need to fight. Tear the man apart and make him feel what you feel. Do you understand me? Midoriya just nodding a bit, before the man just grabs him by his face, by his chin, saying that you yourself are a delicacy. Use that. Now, the man has your arms and legs restrained, so you can't bite those. However, there's one piece of meat he can't touch. So, you're smart. Figure it out. As this, he just disappears. Midoriya looking up, confused, as he looks up at the man, who's just staring at him. He's finally done it, hasn't he? He's broken the boy. So, as he's just wiping his hands down, saying that his work here is finally done. You have been a very resilient person. In fact, one of the most interesting people I've had the pleasure of breaking. Then again, usually the centipedes work. Surprised the scorpions didn't. Then again, I was going to try something else. So, as the man just watches Midoriya, as blood begins to flow out of his mouth, the man confused. Midoriya is chewing on something. As he goes to try and force his mouth open, Midoriya is holding his teeth closed, before the man finally does it, forcing open Midoriya's mouth as he just spits out blood. The man barely able to see what Midoriya did. Midoriya gnawed off his own tongue and swallowed it. As he breaks loose, finally getting away from the chains, finally getting away from the chair, standing up and lunging forwards at the man. And the moment that he was off guard, Midoriya rushed forwards and summoned his Kakucha, his hair turning white in the process. Midoriya stabbing upwards at his hands directly through the man's chest as he rips back through part of his organs, beginning to feast on them. The man going to summon his own weapon. He summons the tail one, while Midoriya is feasting on his organs, at least the large intestines. As it comes down through his legs and tries to stab upwards through Midoriya, hitting him in the gut, Midoriya not even flinching, let alone moving, as Midoriya's wings get bigger, along with his Kagune, the one at his waist, forming, and lunging forwards. As it actually does do something different. As soon as the man gets away from Midoriya, Midoriya just begins to laugh, sadistically, having a bit more fun. Just repeating that he's hungry, he's hungry, he's hungry. I need more. I need more. More food. More, more, more. As something odd begins to happen. Midoriya begins to twist and turn his body odd directions, odd ways. The man lunging forwards, thinking that Midoriya has finally lost it. So he's going to have to put the boy down. Hopefully that stupid doctor's did enough research. The man lunging forwards towards him. Midoriya bending backwards as you hear something. Midoriya's Kagune and Kokaku beginning to twist and contort. So Midoriya begins to just start repeating that he's so sorry, Mom. He's sorry that he's failed her. He can't protect everyone, not with a smile, not anymore. He will protect them. He will do it his own way. He will protect them from ghouls and from people. That being the thought that goes through his mind, as he just looks up to the scene. The man is completely covered in Midoriya's Kagune and Kokaku. They've formed different ways. Midoriya made his Kokaku solid, grabbing the man and tearing him apart with hands, spiral-like appendages coming straight from Midoriya's body. The man screaming and letting out a lot of pain, as Midoriya has the man floating directly in front of him, and he just tears out part of the man's throat, along with the cartilage in the back of his shoulder, as he just says something. I'm tired of this game, so let's play a different one. How about one we're both familiar with? I'll go first. Midoriya stabbing his hand directly into the man's eye, and ripping it out, before swallowing it. The man beginning to scream as Midoriya covers his mouth, and says to the man, "Now, your turn. What is 1000 minus 7? Correct? Come on. I'm waiting for the answer." The man then listening, and repeating it to Midoriya, as he just smiles. The two playing this game, before Midoriya is bored, ripping the man in half and eating him. And he begins to make his way throughout the underground complex. So, he's dead. Now, I have a suggestion, and you have to listen to me very, very carefully. Aoyama, the bastard needs to die. If you run away, then he's just simply going to try and find you again. Do this all over again. In fact, it might work next time. So, how about we show him exactly what happens whenever you break the wrong person? Think that you can control them like a loyal little lapdog. I'm very curious to watch how you rip him apart. Do you think he will beg? I think he will. Now, Midori just begins to smile. The thought that what he can do to Aoyama. The bastard's been feeding on him for a long time. How long has it been? What day is it? He doesn't even know that. So, it's time for him to die. Midoriya, walking through the underground facility. His Kagune and Kokaku, or what is it, the Rinkaku, they begin to shoot outwards. Midoriya ripping apart pieces of ghouls, along with actually doing something with his RC cells. Each one of these hands have a mouth on them. Anytime Midoriya grabs someone, they begin to feed, they begin to eat, as he's ripping out pieces of ghouls every time he attacks, and they all fall to the ground. They beg for their lives before Midoriya stomps their heads like grapes. Along with that, after he gets up to the manor, he simply breaks through it, beginning to rip apart the help, along with the people inside. He makes his way throughout the entire place, be it ghoul or human, guilty or innocent, they all had a part to play in this. That's at least what Midori is thinking, as he rips everyone apart. finally reaching Ayama. Ayama, right now, he's dining, and Midoriya, he's having a bit of fun. As soon as he walks into the room, Ayama turned to see him, confused as to just to see him, really. As soon as he saw him, he immediately goes to jump up, one of these giant hands wrapping around him and keeping him sitting down. Midoriya then sitting directly on the table and staring at the plate, picking it up and tossing it at the wall, and then leaning in close. Ayama seeing Midoriya's face. Ayama completely frightened, thinking about what Midoriya is going to do to him. As Midoriya just stares at him for a second, pondering. What can he do? Indeed, that will work. As he directly stares at Ayama in the face, saying that it's time for payback. Before the hand behind Ayama rips out everything underneath, tearing out his spine, and Midoriya makes quick work of him, amputating his hands and legs. Him just laying there on the floor, trying to use his ability. His Kakune. Midoriya just watching him. It tries to go out from behind his back and attack him, but Midoriya just grabs it, before punching his hand directly into his body and ripping out the sack. And then walking away as Ayama is begging for his life. He knew he would beg. Midoriya doesn't kill him though, as he simply does one thing. He grabs the candles that are lit and begins to light things on fire while walking through the manor, before finally just tossing it away and walking out of the front gates. Now, Midoriya, he's tired, but he's also still hungry. He's not sure exactly where he is, but the area does look somewhat familiar. As he picks a direction and starts walking. Now, over at Momo Yaoyorozu's manor, she is currently at least waiting and talking to some people. She's still being questioned about things that might have happened to Izuku Midoriya and possible whereabouts. He did work at the manor for a long time, so someone might know something. This being where someone does walk into the room and try and talk with her. Her just bringing her hand up as she tells the officer goodnight and hangs up the phone. Turning to see this person. The look on their face clearly shows something. And well, it's true. As they present Izuku Midoriya, who walks into the room, soaked in blood and viscera. His shirt torn and his pants messed up. Along with the fact that he just looks different. Everything about him seems different. As she just stares at him for a second, trying to process exactly what happened, before standing up and grabbing him by the hand, saying that he needs to go to a hospital or even get some help. They have a doctor and he'll patch him up, try and at least help him. Before Midoriya just brings his hand up and begins to smack against his ear. A centipede falling out the other one, as everyone just watches it hit the floor. Midoriya doing it again and another one falling out of his head. Before he just says that he's hungry and he wants something to eat. I've filled up on rotten bastards. And, well, I want to know what day it is. What time is it? How long have I been missing? Along with that, I need help. I want to find the son of a bitch who sold me. Momo just not even saying a word, before at least just motioning to the help, as they walk him away. Momo picking up the phone and making a phone call. Now, with that being said, I do believe that I can leave that part off of here, and I do hope you guys enjoyed. And have an amazing night. I'll catch you guys in the next part.